Hello and welcome to the Crypto Daily Update channel. This is the TAFA chart analysis for Bitcoin for January 27th, 2022. Now, Bitcoin has weathered a lot of scares. And the thing is, a lot of people are going to be asking, have we kind of like bottomed out? And there definitely could be some temporary relief on the horizon. But the long-term process is a lot less sure. Let me tell you what I mean. Like the futures expiry expires next morning, and it probably does so in about 8-9 hours. Well, maybe like 10 hours or so. So that is one of the relief scares. After that, maybe there won't be as much pressure holding Bitcoin down for the bears, at least like on a monthly basis. However, the problem is that like even though the Fed did not actually raise interest rates yesterday, which would actually be a positive short-term sign for Bitcoin, it did give hints that it was going to raise the interest rates several times over the course of the year. Many analysts are predicting as much as 5 times over the course of the year, which would give us about a 1.25% interest rate at the end of the year. I personally think that's healthy for the economy, but short-term market-wise, it may cause further dips. But more importantly than that, the Fed is unclear of what they're going to do. It looks like they're going to choose the policy as they see fit as things go along. But that gives less transparency to the rest of the market because we do not have any good direct signals from the Fed. And less transparency, less guidance leads to lots of volatility. So what I actually expect Bitcoin to be is extremely volatile for the next couple of weeks or next couple of months, or perhaps even through all of this year. Because, the thing is, for the last 10 years or so, we've actually had pretty clear guidance from the Fed on what they're actually going to do in terms of interest rates in the economy. Right now, like they've kind of signaled a new era where we're not going to have nearly as much direct guidance because the Fed doesn't really know what they're going to do in a couple of months. Like they did before. They're actually going to play it as they see it go along. And that's a big shift. The markets do not like volatility, and people may not be as interested in buying, especially risk assets during this time. So that actually might cause a big problem for Bitcoin if you want it to pump. So that's kind of like the Fed right now. There's also this new scare of a Biden executive order that some claim he said it was a threat to national security. That is not all true. That is not at all true. If you actually read the Barron's article, and we'll go over this in a later, we'll go over this more in depth in a later video. What he actually said in the article is that, I'm going to tell like the government agencies to get their crap together and formulate an overarching regulatory framework for Bitcoin. That's actually what that's about. I don't think he's going to ban Bitcoin or say anything bad, but he just wants the other government agencies to formulate an overall good framework. So I think it's pretty much a nothing burger that people are making a lot out of. Biden himself is not going to make any decisions on cryptocurrency. He will actually let the agencies gather information. It'll probably be several months before they come out with any kind of unified thing. So what I do expect from now is that the markets are very volatile. I might actually see a relief rally, maybe even close to the $40,000 area coming early next week because overall the earnings reports were good. Microsoft's was like, but Apple's and Tesla's were both pretty good. The Fed did not raise interest rates, and in the immediate future, it does look like Russia is backing off on Ukraine a little bit. At least Ukraine is saying they're not going to invade. No matter what you think about Germany giving 5,000 helmets to Ukraine or whatever. But anyways, it does not. Ukraine's president said it doesn't look like Russia's going to invade. China is actually backing Russia on the Ukraine thing, but Russia knows that getting its pipeline cut would actually be devastating to the economy, so they're actually backing off Ukraine. So based on those sequence of events, I do actually expect maybe a small jump next week. Hopefully it'll be bigger, but maybe a small jump. But in the months to come, I see extreme volatility. Probably pretty good for swing traders, but I definitely wouldn't bet my money on it. I am just yield farming. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, and uncertainty could actually breed a further bear market. But right now, we might have weathered most of the storm, and we could be pretty close to bottoming out. So that being said, the technicals really haven't changed all that much from before. On the one day, essentially all the oscillators are neutral. The momentum is getting more positive. It's still negative, but it's positive, so it's kind of a buy. MACD levels still sell, so it's neutral. All the oscillators and stochastics are neutral. On the moving average, obviously, we're still far in sell territory. We have to move up another 1,500 or so before we get the 10 to be a buy. And the 50 EMA is still lower than the 200 EMA, so that death cross still does actually exist. So right now, on the day-to-day, probably would not buy right now. I guess you could play on like the slight hints of bullish news we've had going into the end of the week. Good earnings reports. Russia not quite attacking Ukraine, obviously. And also like the Fed not raising interest rates. You could try to play off that, get like a bit of an earnings early next week, but I honestly wouldn't do that. I mean, I think it's just too risky. All the signals are still pointing downward right now on the TA signals. Weekly, it's a little bit more neutral. The oscillators, the commodity channel index is actually oversold, so that's a buy. Stochastic is also oversold, and the momentum is shifting more positive, so it's getting to be more of a buy. MACD levels still sell, but it looks to be more oversold than bought. So if you're looking to buy week to week for the next week or two, at least the first part of February, it might be sort of bullish for the next 15 days, but it's still a hard ask. Moving averages wise, it's still pretty far on the sell. Look, if you look at the 10, 20, 30, they're all pretty negative. Long-term, like weekly trend, it does not seem to be reversing just yet. We still need to hit about 45,000 before we even think, and especially if we need to hit around 50,000 before we even think about a reversal. And even next week's, like next week, if there is a small pump, I don't think it'll pump that far. Could be wrong, but I don't think it'll actually pump that far. I would actually wait for those numbers to hit before I really think about buying in again, because we could dump down a lot further. Monthly, same thing. Momentum and MACD are both actually on sell on the monthly. It's much more of a longer trend, but the oscillators are still pretty neutral. So I would say the monthly is maybe on a slight sell, but I do think like we could actually move slightly higher, at least in the beginning of the month, next month. All the moving averages for the 10 and the 20 are pretty much sell. So those are the ones I look at, because above 20 and into the 30, you're getting to like more than 2 years, which I don't think is all that relevant. There is still some indicator of like at least a yearly bearish cycle, if not a longer term multi-year bear cycle. So right now, like on the longer term, I would definitely be hesitant on buying until we hit like that 45,000, if not like 48,000 right now. So that really hasn't changed from the last few days. So I mean, like if you're looking at like a 5 or 10 year wick, obviously it's still a buy, but I don't know if anyone in the crypto market's really looking for that. Once again, yield farming coins, high staking coins, those are actually what's in right now. Don't buy Wonderland and Time, because they've had some bad news with their CFO. But otherwise, I think we are actually going to be slightly bullish for the beginning of next week, but I don't know how long that will last, and that's why I wouldn't really take the chance of buying. And like I'm like maybe like slightly more than 50-50 on being bullish early next week. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.